Hello everyone and welcome to this tutorial from Blender 3D 101. Today I'm going to give you a short introduction to using cycles in Blender. So to start with that, let's go ahead and open up a new file. And to change the cycles render engine, we just need to go to the render settings right here and change it from Blender render to cycles render. And next in our render panel, I'm going to change this to experimental and GPU. You can change it to CPU or GPU depending on what you have or what you prefer. And you can leave this on experimental or supported, but since I have CUDA cores, I want to be able to use those, so I'm selecting experimental and selecting CUDA. Next, let's change this to 720p. Scroll down here, and in the integrator panel, let's change the render to 100. The preview will leave at 10, and that'll be fine. So to get right into rendering in the viewport with cycles, all we need to do is just change the viewport shading to rendered. Let me turn on my key status here real quick. And now just to test it out and to show you a couple of the features of cycles, let's just go ahead and grab this cube on the Z, hold down Control, and pull it up one unit. Shift A, add a plane, scale that up. Hit Z to get out of the rendered mode. Delete the default light. Shift A, add a mesh, plane. Grab it on the Z. Tab into the edit mode and scale it up. Let's rotate it from side view. And that'll work. So now to make this a light, let's go ahead and give it a new material and call it light. We're going to change its surface type to an emission, and let's make it power 3. Also, let's rename this object to light. Let's move the mesh data to light. Alright. Now, if we go back to render mode, you'll see that there's a lot more light for this object, which is good. Let's go ahead and rotate on that on the X a little bit more. So we don't have that line back there. That looks good. Scale the forward plane a little bit more. Rotate the light on the X again to get rid of that line. And there we go. Okay, so now let's select the floor and let's give it a glossy texture. So call this one floor. Make it glossy. And we don't want a 100% mirror because then you can see the light and everything. So let's go ahead and turn the roughness up to 0.3, and I don't really like where that light is, so let's go ahead and change that. Go to front view, actually top view, rotate, grab, move it off to that side. Let's rotate it up here a little bit. Move it closer. That looks about good. Okay, so now let's go ahead and just change this floor color down a little bit. Color down. Select the cube and let's give it a texture as well, or a material, excuse me. Let's call this one cube. And let's make it glass doesn't look too good, so let's go ahead and make it velvet or something. Make it a red. Let's make it more like a maroon. There we go. Let's turn the sigma down a little bit to 0.8. And there we go. Now this is still pretty dark, so let's go ahead and move our light here and rotate it up. Rotate it. Okay, that looks better. You can kind of see the reflection there on the ground, but we're not really worried about that. This is just a simple test to show you how things interact. Now, to get rid of this plane, so it wouldn't show up in your render anytime, I believe you go to the Object panel and check Ray, go down to Ray Visibility and uncheck Camera, I believe. The plane will not show up. Now, to move that around, then you'll either have to select it up here, and then you can move it around, or uncheck camera, or check camera again so that you can see that. But that way it won't show up in your renders at all anytime. So that is just about it. It's how you can set up a basic scene in Cycles. I'm planning on doing a couple tutorials on creating a coat glass here in Blender and using Cycles and getting some nice glass going, and so I will be working on those tutorials soon, but I hope you enjoyed this one and that you learned something, and I will see you next time.